Okay, so this is a gold 3 game for the 9 Nazgul on Pyke. It's a red side game with the Pyke and the Jinx versus a MF and Thresh. That's a lane on the MF Thresh where they're going to want to get ahead earlier. Plus they have the potential with the Lantern for an easy jungle gank as well with the Master Yi. Or even with the Pantheon as well, because the Pantheon can do a cheeky play down onto bot lane as well with his ulti. And the Ryze mid lane has TP, so that should be kind of at the back of your mind as well. As this game progresses through, you could actually have quite a lot of people bot lane. But yeah, the early is pretty strong. You can't really engage here unless they make a mistake. Jinx has okay wave clear with a Q rocket. It is kind of mana intensive here. So my number one advice here would be just survive the first stage of the laning phase. Don't encourage Jinx to push in too far. It's probably better if you're under tower here. And then you can then maybe get the Hecarim to help you out. But the only way you're going to get a kill bot side is with a mistake from the enemy team. You can't force a play onto bot lane to get a kill because you'll just get CC'd up and then you'll be screwed. So, whereas for example, the Thresh could make a play onto your Jinx, for example, and get her called out and maybe force a couple of summoners there. So you're already at a lane disadvantage just from that. However, you do have like potential to gank mid since the Ryze is a fairly easy gank target. So we'll see as the game progresses what kind of things open up. So now, one thing I would like to state as well, going into a Pyke game, only go Relic Shield Aftershock build. I'm assuming you're Aftershock build here. Yes, you are. Because Relic Shield Relic and Aftershock are okay as a tank package, but you should really be only doing this if you feel very uncomfortable with the champion, or if you're afraid of CC, like mass. We're talking mass CC on their team. They really haven't got like an insane amount of CC to justify going tank Pyke here. I'd highly recommend learning Electrocute. The amount of damage you're missing out, especially, I don't know if you're aware, 2 or 3 patches ago they buffed AD ratios on the Pyke as well, so there's kind of no excuse to be taking Relic Shield anymore. You want to go coin, and then you want to also, another downside here as well is because you're going coin, because you're going Relic Shield rather than coin here, it's actually pretty predictable what you're going to be doing, and the Thresh is going to be able to CC you. The only way, real way, to be honest, in 90% of cases as a melee with a Relic Shield is if you've got minion dematerializer, then you can safely take the cannon minions and things, because that's going to be the most predictable thing you do, right? Is taking a cannon minion, which is going to open up to you to being flayed, to being hooked, or MF to just put down E over you, and then you're slowed down, and then you're going to have to use spells to get away, and then you might not even get the cannon minion anyway. Coin gives you a lot of breathing space. The gold, honestly, it's actually OP, the coin, in most cases, because the gold coin itself stays on the floor a little bit longer. The stats are comparable to a Relic Shield, and you get extra mana regen as well from picking up the blue coins as well. And over time, with all the roaming that you should be doing anyway, you'll get way more gold on the coin than the Relic Shield anyway. Regen on the Relic Shield in general is kind of meh and not enough to justify going it just for the regen. I mean, the only reason why I can think people would take Relic Shield on a tank, to be honest, if they have a no mini dematerializer, is on that second wave that comes through. You burst down 2 melee minions and get that level 2 pump up pretty quickly, and then have a level 2 to level 1 versus level 1 engage on the enemy team, which something on with like an Alistair you could do pretty effectively. But apart from like that, and like Braum can kind of take it because he can at least wall up in like if he does get called out, and then make them waste a bit of mana. But Braum should really take a minion dematerializer anyway, and so should an Alistair. So you can't take a minion dematerializer on Pyke, of how his rune setups are. So they even changed the recommended item as well from Relic Shield as well when Pyke was first released into coin. And since like Pyke came out, I've always recommended coin anyway. So I found it really interesting how Riot have actually identified quite early on. They don't usually do this. They identified early on that Pyke actually should be on coin. They should be recommending coin. They don't usually change the item shops that quickly on a champion that's just been released like that as well. So yeah, I think a lot of people have been baited into going into that Relic Shield path as well instead of taking coin.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
You don't really have an evade here, and neither did the enemy team, so this is like, you know, nothing should happen here. It's gonna go straight into lane. You can't go through river here though, just in case they are cheesing through. You have to go safe. Good. You know the enemy bot lane aren't here. There's a good chance that they pulled. Usually you can sometimes tell if the enemy have like a tiny bit of HP missing or a tiny bit of mana used, that they've definitely kind of pulled. Also, ideally, if your jungler isn't coming for this scuttle after the buff, then you need to make sure this is warded, because the next pathing for Yi would be like red buff, scuttle, and then to gank with a thresh engage. I'm going to put the fog wall off there, but that river bush ideally should be warded. You can't get level 2 first. You have to play passive. Just sometimes like get your Q ready to do a grab. Like if the thresh looks like he's moving forward, and if you start channeling your Q and he's still walking towards you, it means that the jungler's there as well. Whereas normally he would back off. If you start channeling your Q, both the MF and the thresh should back off. You got no vision here, so be very careful of a thresh gank coming in with a Yi, because you got no vision on the scuttle at all. Okay, you got level 2 here. Without knowing here, it's too risky to go in. If you know for a fact that like this area is safe, then you could maybe consider doing a cheeky hook. But because they're literally about to hit 2, I personally would just stay back still. Good E dash away. I'm not sure why there's a ward placed here though. They haven't had a chance to be that far up, and even if they were there level 1, they would be pretty overextended anyway. You should be telling your Jinx to ward here if possible. Like the ways you can indicate your AD carry to ward is by pinging your own ward to say it's on cooldown, and then just do a quick like ping there, like just to get them to do it if you don't want to type it. Ping communication is pretty important, and as support you should be doing it fairly often. Okay, so you get hooked here. If you E and get flayed, you're actually stuck here. So just bear that in mind, because Thresh can cancel dashes with his flay. Okay, this is a good little turnaround here. Good hook. If you had electrocute there, you probably would have got the kill, by the way. That's the kind of damage I'm talking about that you're missing out on there with the runes as well. If you had electrocute build here, you would have got the kill there on that Thresh. He would have also be, like, even if he was on a sliver of health there, Jinx would go over Q, get excited, and then obviously she still got healed as well. That would be a kill there. This is like primary reason why you should go execute. That is just a primary example of why you should go electrocute instead of aftershock, because that Thresh 100% should have died there. You played everything right after getting caught there. It's just you didn't have a... Pyke's damage is quite lousy, right? But the electrocute damage can make up the burst, because he's all about burst. When you make that play to go in, it's all about that burst, and he would have died. Guarantee it. If I was that Jinx, I would have flashed for that. He didn't have enough. He was still had too much HP for Jinx to be able to kill after flashing. Whereas the electrocute, that wouldn't have happened. You just got to push the wave in now. Reset it. Get vision. Your Jinx needs to get vision. Your Jinx hasn't used the ward yet, which you should have been, like, you're playing in the dark here. And now your lane's uber pushed up. This is super scary. You can't be looking for an engage here because you have no vision here at all. You can't be forcing things, because worst case scenario is, say if years left, and you hook the thresh in on top of your face, you're just gonna have to burn your own summoners at the best case. Your own ward's about to come up now. Okay, good, you're finally using it. I would still encourage, like, Jinx is now sitting on 2 wards, I'd still encourage her to ward this brush as well, because you got no vision around here, and it's still simple pathing for Yi to come down. But it is good now that you finally got some vision now on the enemy side. One thing you should be looking at here now as well, though, is that this wave here mid is very pushed up. So that could give you potential to do something around that mid lane as well. So just bear that in mind. You don't have to constantly make plays down here as well. Okay, you get a hooked here. I think you have to dash away from this. I don't think you can stay here. You could maybe E through them, get a double stun, and then maybe W through these brushes as well. That'd be risky. I would probably just try and get out of this situation, to be honest, and altogether. You really could have kind of... You should have your HP a tiny bit topped up as well with the health potion that you should have used probably earlier as well. I think if your HP was higher, you were doing fine. So you got nullifying orb there as well, actually. There's no need for nullifying orb in this lane at all, in all honesty. I'd be actually surprised if that nullifying orb even is even useful here. Yeah, there's still like half of that shield that didn't even get used there, so I'm not too sure what summoners you're taking either. So it looks like you need to look at your whole build honestly on Pyke. You seemed like in your match history that you did have enough games on Pyke to be able to play incompetently. So I'd suggest straight away look at into your Rune builds for sure. Don't forget I've got a Pyke guide as well that you can use for reference, or you can use pro builds and have a look at what other people are using on an electrocute. Just stay passive here now. Just wait for the opening, wait for the mistake. Okay, right. Let's go back and have a look at that one in slow-mo. Okay, Thresh has been doing a really good job of landing hooks, actually. Okay, is the hook gonna happen yet? That's good positioning here. I would say I would personally wait. If you can, honestly, actually, if you can, you want to wait until this Thresh actually presses Q again to come here, and then you can use your hook to fling him close towards the tower, then E him, and then you could actually probably kill the Thresh, especially if you had electrocute. I don't know what the aftershock damage is like, but yeah, he chooses not. Or he did choose to go in. Okay. I think the problem there as well is that you wound up your Q a little bit too early there, which is unfortunate. I want to watch that in real time just to get a feel of what happened there. So you see Thresh being aggressive there. I want to watch the whole thing in real time to see if you actually had time, because the sound effect doesn't work in slow-mo. Because you can usually hear him strain a little bit before then he finally gives up on using his Q on Pyke. Yeah, you would have been able to in the timing. It would have been pretty close, but you could have held on to that Q, waited for the Thresh to come in a bit more, and then hooked him actually into you, and then you could have stunned him via that method. Decent-ish peel though. Alternatively, one other thing you could have done there in that situation is if your AD carry does get hooked, is to then switch onto the enemy AD carry. So like your Q missed there, your priority should be trying to CC this MF so she doesn't do any damage to your Jinx here. So if you do this exact situation here, and this happens, your next primary thing should be on the MF, because there's no way you're going to stop any damage that this Thresh is going to do anyway. Because he's going to press Q again, he's going to use Flay, and he's going to do auto attack. Whereas this MF, you can stop that damage. You can stop her auto attacks coming through by just Eing her and then Wing away, right? And it will move. Not only will you likely land the stun on MF, it's also going to cause her to do movement as well, which will cancel another auto attack as well. When you overextend into because everything's already been used on the Jinx here. Like, so you just E across here, and then you could probably easily walk away. I mean, the Thresh has no CC. You could actually, like, I think in the game I might just W like up here, but like you could easily just walk back to your tower. Actually, they can't do anything to you here at this point. Alright, so right now you need to be looking at the situation and go, we need to go back like right now, because like we've got nothing on bot side right now, and there's two things you can do in this situation here. You can ask your jungler to come down, not necessarily for a gank, but just be clear, like we just need this wave pushed into the enemy tower so that we can recall, because you need to recalling right now needs to be your primary objective, okay? For the Jinx's, mainly for the Jinx's sake, right? I mean, MF is technically she's going to have a hard time pushing in the wave anyway, but you need to try and get your jungler through. The other option is just tell your Jinx to go back and say you'll do your best to freeze the wave. That's the worst of the two options. But Jinx technically can't push in here like at all. Now your Hecarim's super close, you should just say, look, just come here. We just need to back. Almost beg if you have to. He'll, like 75% of the time the jungler will come and just say, look, get free CS, just come. You tell Jinx to back off here. There's semi-freezing the wave here. So yeah, your job now, okay, this is like the second of the two options that we had given you here. So now you need to freeze this wave as best as you can. And if they're still here, when Jinx is back, you want to stop the MF and the Thresh from recalling as best as possible. Wherever it's a delay, or make them think that they're forced into the lane, because Jinx is going to buy a couple of, well, she bought a BF sword, so that's amazing. She bought a BF sword, so now if you can keep the MF here in lane with just the Doran's ring and the Thresh with just a coin, you've got a massive item lane advantage here. Usually what happens is you can get people to stay in the lane like that just by freezing the wave, sometimes it is tiny bit risky, but just get ready to hold off this wave, even if it means being a little bit cocky. It's a shame Hecarim's not helping. You need to step forward here. It's worth it. You just step forward here and just keep the enemy bot lane here as much as possible. I'm not saying dive for it, but you just want them to delay. Even if it's delaying a recall by 5 seconds, you're still doing something good here. Let's just check what they were doing. Yeah, I guarantee you, if they saw you, I think they thought you recalled. I think that's what it was. I think they thought that you recalled, which you don't want them to have in your mind. You want them to stay here. Because they're sitting on like 1,500 gold or whatever the MF is or whatever, and it's gold that's in her pocket. If you prevent her from recalling, it's like the gold is worth nothing. Yeah, I want to see that more from your games. If we review again, I want to see you actually like In that exact situation, you want to make sure that you delay the enemy from recalling as much as possible. And an absolute perfect, you would have done a perfect job if they actually stayed in lane. Do you know what I mean? Say if they walked up to here and they were like, "Oh crap, Pyke is freezing this wave. We need to push in again," which, to be honest, a lot of the time does bait people into staying in the lane. Then you can make a play pretty nicely with this extra BF sword damage. Or, if they do recall anyway, it gives Jinx the option to freeze the wave like she is kind of doing right now. But it would be a much more effective freeze as well, because there would be more enemy minions there as well to help out with the freeze as well. So basically it's win-win. It's win-win if you freeze it there. Jinx is doing the right thing here. Apart from getting hit by that key. You cannot still make plays here. This is still a laning phase you do not win. There's no fight mid for you to do, so you have to stay into lane right now. But you don't want to engage either. You're just capitalizing on mistakes. You can't be the playmaker here. It's just not the lane matchup to make a play. Usually against tanks you have to wait until the mistake happens, or wait for your jungler, or you roam. It's kind of hard leaving a Jinx behind to farm off CS, but if the Jinx was like 0-2 at this point, you would definitely prioritize on roaming. Enemy's doing a really good job freezing as well, to be honest. This is really good by the enemy bot lane. I mean, you can still farm here. Oh no, the Jinx is really the HP. This is a really bad spot for you. I would say Jinx is going to have to lose CS here. You have to abandon her. This is like, you rarely see this even in Diamond or Masters. This is really, really, really top-notch freezing by the enemy team here. This is perfect. This is perfect display of freezing the lane. The only way to counter this move here is by the support roaming. So the only way you can counter this play is by you yourself forcing a play elsewhere, right? So you have to go mid at this point. You have to go all the way around and hope that the Jinx doesn't die. So technically you're doing nothing down here. Oh, and you are doing it. No, go for it, dude. Okay. You know the echo's coming down? You're being very subtle about this, and I like that. I like you trying to be subtle about it. Alright, in this situation here, you have to go for Thresh. Okay, Echo's gone back now, you can't go in. That's a shame. Yeah, you basically, you roam. If they're freezing really nicely like that, you roam to force them to push. Exactly. This is still not good for you. You should still be roaming. The Jinx is just in a really bad spot right now. And to be honest, Jinx could come with you and roam at this Pyke as well. At this point as well. She cannot get a play here unless they make a mistake. I cannot reiterate that enough. Jinx has done a really good job keeping up with CS though, so it's not like this situation seems really, really bad, which it kind of is a little bit bad, but she's only 7 CS behind, so it's a lot better than what she should be doing right now. But you should be identifying the fact that you're doing actually nothing the last 2 minutes here. If you felt nervous leaving your Jinx, then it's not your problem, it's the Jinx's problem. Okay. Let's watch this whole play. I think you can do really nice things here, actually. Yeah, the Jinx gets caught massively here. Okay. Okay, so MF ult is used. Okay. I can understand why you E out of that, but honestly, you were basically out of the ulti anyway. You just needed to take a step to the left, and you would have been fine. Okay. You can't Q the MF to hit because the Jinx would get hit. Although she did hit you there and take a tower hit, so now it's actually technically okay. Oof, it's a massive shame you missed that one though. She's still tanking tower there. Your E's down. Get ready to ult. Wait. You have ignite up. 1 second here. What? That MF took so many tower shots there. That is a massive shame you missed the hook, right? It happens, whatever. Right, at this point, right, okay. So what we said the same with the Nami. Remember when Nami roamed mid in the last coaching session? If you missed it and you're watching on YouTube, check the previous Nami coaching session I did for the Gold 3. But the Jinx is 100% gonna die. She has ignite here, so you cannot save her. Your priority here should be trying to get at least 1 kill for yourself. So now you should be looking right. For this MF is super far overextended. She has to die at this point. You need to ignite in case she uses heal to mitigate 50% of that heal as well. Your priority shouldn't be Thresh here, because you're not peeling for anything because she's already dead, right? And the MF has been tanking so many tower shots here. So that MF should have been ignited and an auto hit, and then she would be low enough there for you to ult. Now you're kind of going for the Thresh with ignite. This isn't really a fight you can do much here now. Hopefully your E's coming up soon. Yeah, I think that back to what we were saying before, capitalizing on mistakes. You should have identified that the MF was tanking tower really, really badly. Sure, it sucks you missed your Q, and you definitely it would have been a clean kill on MF if you landed that hook, for sure. But you need to identify, like, at what point is peeling for someone that's gonna die is worth it, and 9 times out of 10 it's not worth it. She is definitely going to die. She had ignite. Heal was used. She was 100% done so, right? So there's no point attacking the Thresh under tower when he's not even tanking tower. There's just no benefit there whatsoever. If the Thresh was, like, you know, super low for execute range, then it would be worth it. But you need to switch onto the person tanking tower there, and that's the MF. And you would. The only way she would get out of it is flashing your ulti. So, I mean, that could have happened at around this point. She would have been super low. And once again, electrocute would have been super worth it there. If you actually think about it, because you missed your E and your Q, your Aftershock didn't even go off there. So your Aftershock didn't even get used there as well. Electrocute again would have got you a kill there as well. So you missed out on 2 kills already because your build's bad. And just being brutally honest, Aftershock Pyke needs to stop unless you're just learning the champion. Aftershock is really nice if you're learning the champion, but people really need to stop taking Aftershock. I keep seeing like pro people take it, and it's frustrating to watch because Aftershock is just not good. You've missed out on 2 kills now because of you go Aftershock. Yeah, and you say you feel so squishy, but honestly, you're literally no squishier there than an electrocute Pyke because your Aftershock didn't even proc off, right? So you are, because you whiffed everything, you're the same tankiness as an electrocute Pyke, and then you're missing out on the extra damage rune and the extra electrocute bonus as well. But I guarantee you, if you were electrocuted there, you would have got the kills. The only time, apart from learning the champion, where Aftershock Pyke is worth it is if you're extremely far behind. If you're really, really, really far behind, we're talking like 0-5 and you only got a couple of assists, then Aftershock can be okay. Because you are basically there just to do the occasional E, and then you're going to die anyway, and an Aftershock might make you survive. But after that, no. Electrocute is only good for the lanelet, though. I hope that's a question. If you're playing Pyke properly and coming in for the flanks and maybe only doing hook to engage, unless it's a very small skirmish where you can, and you know you'll survive by going E in, you wouldn't survive as Aftershock Pyke anyway. So you really should be like, you know, on the flanks as a proper assassin should be. Pyke isn't designed to be a tank. His health pool shows that. You could have 1 million armor and like 100 HP, but you'll still die from like true damage or or just a few hits anyway. So yeah. And Jinx actually did a really nice ult there actually. That was actually a pretty nice ult from Jinx there as well. It's just a shame. Yeah. MF used heal there as well. I don't think that MF heal was revealed there though. So you wouldn't have necessarily known MF used heal there. And thank you for that command by the way, Sui. Okay. Right, so you know Jinx's ulti is down, so you definitely don't want to do anything until that's up, at least, or about to be up. And you're right, Jinx is catching everything at this point, and I think if I were you, you really should be prioritizing more on roaming. Like, you could have roamed earlier when they were freezing the lane to force them to push in, but like, I'm getting the feeling from watching this game, and you would have had that feeling even earlier, that this Jinx isn't good enough for this laning phase. So your priority should be like either working with your jungler or going to mid, because the Rise is gankable. Gankable for sure. No. No, 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 no. Okay, let's watch this. It's a shame. This is the first time the Hecarim's ganked for you. You should have identified at this point, as soon as you get hit by CC like this, and your Pyke, you should have make sure you have a very quick glance at the minimap to see where your jungler is. I would have tried to delay around here as much as possible. I wouldn't have used a single spell here actually, not yet. You were in W still there, I think, still as well. So you could have played around a bit in W here and just danced around here slightly and caused the overextension there. Who's pinging you back? Oh no, it's the enemy team pinging them back. It's Master Yi and the enemy team. So no... Oh, it's hard to watch, missing that key actually, it's really unlucky. You should have stayed in the W just for a tiny bit longer, just to keep baiting them in to go in here. And once again, I mean, you are Aftershock Pyke. This is like, if you are doing an Aftershock Pyke, this is kind of your job here. Yeah. It's kind of hard. You missed 2 vital cues. Right, that as soon as that Hecarim ult goes past, you kind of need to ult straight on top of the MF there, expecting burst to come through. It's a shame there's no burst that did come through there, but there should have been an extra hit there, Q rocket there from Jinx. And the MF probably would have died. What have you got there? Maybe boots and the Targans. Maybe you haven't got enough damage anyway with your ulti actually there. Okay. Let's watch the whole play. So you missed the Q. Kind of unlucky. You've already used your E to escape. Hecarim ults there. You could... I would personally would ult there, and if MF lanterns there, you've got no spells left. So you need to be looking at going away. As soon as Hecarim gets hooked there, once again you want to have a quick look into the minimap. So let's see what you can actually see. You can see nothing, but you can see there's Rise coming down actually. So you can see there's going to be some reaction to the team, and you're now losing this fight. You can't see the Yi yet, but you can tell that right here that the Rise is coming down from mid, and you need to have in your mind that you need to get out of this situation as quickly as possible. I would say with the amount of HP that Hecarim has at the moment, I think he doesn't need peeling just yet. I would prioritize myself getting the passive off and healed up. No, 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 no. This is no, 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 no. If you're watching the minion map there, you would have seen the Rise follow through. That's gonna get you. Okay, that Yi should have killed you. It's actually hilarious. You overextended way too hard there as well. Okay. But yeah, that one tiny piece of information here with the Rise coming down here should have made it into your mind that you should be getting out there. You didn't need to peel for the Hecarim. By the time the Hecarim had got out of that situation, for example, by the time he had already got out, like, he gets hooked. He's still got a crap ton of HP. It's not a lot here that you can do to save him anyway if you manage to. It's like, he's safe. That point there, he's safe. There's literally nothing the enemy can do. You should escape at that point. I mean, what you could do is you could maybe walk in front of the Thresh and dash away if it was up, because then it would stop him from pathing forward to chase anymore. But like, this is like you're done. There's no point carrying on this play. Get out. Like that, this is just way too much. And then Yi pops in and says hello. I have no idea how this Yi doesn't kill anyone, by the way. What happened there? Anyway, let's just focus on you. Yeah, that's very... Yeah, that shouldn't have been a thing there. And once again, you need to recall. You've got to accept, like, you've lost the fight, so you're gonna lose something, right? If you lose a fight, you're gonna probably 9 times out of 10 lose something, whether it's tower or lose CS under tower or lose a dragon. You know, it's just inevitable. It's League. You lose something, you lose a fight, you genuinely lose something, right? So staying here at this point is just completely pointless right now, because you know that Rise isn't mid, so like where's Rise as well? Should be entering your head too. And you've actually got vision of him because he saw, actually, yeah, this is red vision, so you can actually see the Rise here. There's nothing you can do, because the only if you stay here under this tower, the only thing that's going to happen is that they're going to do this dragon. Rise is going to eat the berries to get mana, and then he's going to tower dive you. You got no HP. And you're like standing there thinking, I might be able to do something here. There's literally nothing you can do here. Okay, why did you go in? Let me think. I'll figure out what happened here. So Rise eats the berries. They didn't take the dragon. Okay, they didn't take the dragon. He's overextended, kinda. From your information here, you're technically 2v2 and not in a very good spot. Should be primary in your mind to peel here a tiny bit, but like only a tiny bit, because if that Yi Qs you, you're pretty much done though if that Yi Qs you. That's a nice hook. Now you need, alright, after the alpha strike comes through, then you want to E-dash away. Perfect, but I would have prioritized, I can understand why your first instinct is to run back towards your tower, but you should have identified that the Hecarim's coming down, so actually it should have been a E upwards here, because then you got 2 allies here. versus a tower that's about to die with Jinx down. So ideally you should have E'd up towards Hecarim. Really nice though that the E follows into your stun there though. Very early ulti there though. I think he was going to wreck you there anyway. I want to watch that again. Yeah, played pretty hard there actually. Comes down to it again, would you have had enough damage if you had electrocute there? Because your electrocute would have procced there. It would have been so close, dude. It would have been so close. I wonder. I do wonder actually that if you had electrocute there, that would have been another kill. Actually, it's not very. Yeah, the Hecarim isn't really doing enough damage there. Even I would have personally would have felt like that would have been a kill potential there, but once again, I would have had a better feel if I had the electrocute as well. Okay, so you just lost a massive fight, and you're gonna lose Dragon now as well. I mean, that does kind of stem from like you guys should have recalled. A lot of these coaching sessions have actually been like mistakes from teammates not recalling. That you guys should have recalled earlier. Once you lost that fight here, there should have been a recall here. There was no way you guys were gonna steal the dragon, and if up that dragon you're gonna get towered over anyway, which did happen to the Jinx anyway. As I said before, if you lose a fight like that where 3 of you end up on like 50% or 40%, 30%, like, you're not going to be able to defend a tower dive. Especially when the mid laner starts entering into like the equation as well. So, you should have recalled here. You would have lost tower and dragon anyway, but you would have kept, you wouldn't have, no one would have died there. Because this fight wouldn't have stemmed at all, because you guys would have been you and Jinx would have recalled, and it would have been the Echo and the Hecarim, and they wouldn't have. I don't think they would have gone in for this fight if they just knew on the mini map it was just only them two. Okay, so now you need to think what's going to happen now on the map. So laning phase has ended. Your bot lane's going to be roaming somewhere, whether it's mid or top. It's too early to tell where it is. But basically, to have the most effective ward worth right now to counter wherever your enemy team is roaming is going to be priority warding on the top side of the map. So you haven't got your trinket complete yet. How long is that for? Still only on 400 gold at 30 minutes. This is another why Relic Shield sucks as well, because you just get put too far behind. So yeah, you just get put too far behind on the gold as well, generally as well on Pyke. Relic Shield's by far the worst gold income item in the game. But generally you want to be focusing around this top side because there's Herald, and your bot lane is either going to be here or here. There's no reason to come bot. There isn't. This is not going to end well. There's no way you're going to be able to push that in. One rule of thumb is that if you are just, especially if you're behind, if it's just you and your AD carry versus a top laner, you're going to lose. You need a jungler there. You need your jungler there to provide the extra cover and CC. Being 2v1 against a top laner isn't enough because of the solo income and XP from a top laner. Not sure why we're doing blue buff here. There's... This is weird. I don't know why we're doing blue buff. Just need to work with your team more here and move around the map more with roaming. This is the first time you've actually like moved from bot lane to make a play. You're in a good position here. Your W was on cooldown. It's about to come up. Let me put it onto the fog of war. Oh, the fog of war is on. So you know the Yi and the Pantheons there. What you're waiting for here is you want to take a step back here and make sure Hecarim is primary target here. And then what will happen is that the Yi will alpha strike to the Hecarim and then they'll both be stacked up. So then it's like an easy double stun then. Yeah, you want to take yourself out of being the primary target there for sure. So you actually want to take a step back to then make the engage, to make yourself not the primary target there. So you want them to use everything onto the Hecarim because he can take it a lot easier than you can. That's going to be a nice double stun and then you need to W away. Fight's over at that point. I think you could have probably killed Pantheon if you had just waited 1 second to go in. For that very reason. Does that make sense? On the plus side, at least you get a free ignite out of the Pantheon. Okay, you want to get in position to follow this up. Having a quick glance at ultis, Echo hasn't got his ulti up. Okay, this is the kind of the play where you would actually manually stand here and then dash back so that they'll be forced to walk into your stun if they want to proceed to keep chasing up this Echo. Really bad thrash choke there. Yeah, even with my... oh my god, you're overextended like crazy there. That shouldn't have happened. Even with my idea that the guy would have died anyway. He died just a tad too quick, but you would have dashed away anyway and you would have been fine. You're trying to queue up here. I can see that you're trying to go for Pantheon there. It looks like you're trying to go for an ult there actually, aren't you? I can see what you're doing there. Alright, let's do it from your perspective. It looks like you're trying to get the kill on Pantheon there. I would have done the peel way, but if you're going to go for a kill into this Pantheon here, you actually need to play way more aggressive then for that situation. So in this, right here, as soon as Pantheon jumps on, you actually just want to do, you want to E dash in, Q tap, ignite, R, then use your ult charge again to the thresh, and then flash away. That would be like the perfect play. So here, if you were going to kill this Pantheon, the perfect play would be to E dash into melee, Q the Pantheon, ignite him, auto, R, and then R to the thresh, and then flash out. I mean, even there, you could flash. Is that in ult range? Probably isn't, even because of the build you've got there. But yeah, I can tell you're being greedy for the Pantheon there. You couldn't see the rise there. You probably would have died for the Pantheon play. But yeah, like the peel way, the way I suggested, where you walk into there and then use your ghost as a stun dash so they can't walk through it, would have been the best way, because you wouldn't have got yourself killed there and you would have had a very slim marginal chance at keeping the Echo alive. That would have been the best chance of keeping Echo alive. He committed suicide there as well, which is weird. So did Jinx. And once again, we're talking about Relic Shield again. It's 16 minutes into the game now, and your Targon's still not complete. So yeah, you're having a rough time here, my dude. Tarkin is just so bad. Please just don't go out anymore, Pyke, guys. Tarkin is so bad. Okay, let's step back. What happened here? So, your team's behind. You're down every tier tower. You can't do a single team fight here, and you can't initiate a fight here either. You're basically clean. You're like the janitor. Pyke's a janitor at this point. You're literally there for ulti cleanup. There's nothing you can do. Right. Doing that's fine. Let's see how the follow-up happens. You've just lost your Hecarim, and you're both in no man's land right now. Okay, at that point you ditch. Okay, I don't want you see. I don't want to see you go in here. Ditch, ditch. Don't go in. I know you're thinking about it. Okay, good. At least you actually ditched there. It looked like you're thinking about going in. No way! They go in? That's insane. That's such a bad mistake by them. That's a game-changing mistake by the enemy team there. You have E up here too? You do not want to... Okay, right. If you see this massive mistake, you do not want to use your dash here. This is such a game-changing move. Straight away, you want to... As soon as you see that happen, you want to move to here. Okay? You want to move to here, and then get ready to stun their entire team. Oh my god, and with the trap as well. That could have been so beautiful, dude. That was a game-changing mistake. They should have been punished so brutally hard for that move. I was surprised anyone took that portal there too as well. That was such a bad portal by Ryze. Once again, okay, you finally got your ward item complete. You wanna get, like... I mean, the maps had no vision for ages. You want to make sure there's a ward around the middle of this lane, wherever it's here or here, just to see rotations. They're going to be doing Herald soon. There's going to be nothing you can do about it. The next dragon is an Ocean Drake, so there's not too much priority there. Just let them have it. You guys are just going to farm up for the late game now. You've got Jinx and Echo can one-shot people later on. Trindam is obviously pretty decent late game. Hecarim can do a pretty good job too with helping one-shot people. So you have a couple of tools here. It's going to be a difficult game, but you could still pull through. It's doable. Odds are against you, but it's still doable. You put a control ward here. I would prefer to see you plop the control ward either here or here to make sure they're not like... Worst case scenario is you put a control ward here, right? So that you make sure you know for a fact that you've got full control of that brush, so you can rotate to Herald or to Baron if you need to. I personally, in this situation, would push the controller to here to see, to get a head start to see what they're thinking about doing. And also it means that if you've got a control ward here, it means that they haven't passed through here at all. Say if you can keep a control ward there occupied for like 3-4 minutes, it means there should be no other wards in your top side as well. If that makes sense. So I'm not much of a fan of that. That control ward isn't worth anything. A normal ward would provide you there, but there's no real situation there that you're going to be rotating to topside and that ward's going to be helping you at all there. If you had it in this brush, for example, if you were like doing roaming through to up here, then it might help better, but no, control should be here or here in my opinion. Am I going to be doing some soda Q today? I'm not sure. I want to, but my throat's dead already. Alright, so they've taken Herald. There's nothing else to fight for here. This is one of these cases where there's nothing to fight for here, so you just walk out. Literally nothing to gain here. Okay. At least you get your ulti off. And I'm pleased that you weren't the one to initiate that. You're overextending again, but that's nice now that what's happened. Capitalizing on mistakes by the enemy team. Pause. There is a time when it can be too much to keep going for things. Once again, minion wave isn't in your favor at all. You got no way of pushing down this tower, even if you do keep getting multiplicative kills here. The main thing on the mini-map to be aware of here is two things. You got the Tryndamere, he's getting free farm and pushing down, so you should be able to get that tier 1 top side. There's dragon spawning in 18 seconds, so your main priority should be like securing that those two things happen. Because you got long death timers now, well, reasonable death timers on 3 of the enemy team. There's, with the amount of mana as well that the Jinx has, I would be very surprised if anything comes from this. If Jinx had more mana, it would be worth going in. The problem here now is that you're delaying yourself from doing Drakes. Yeah, you won't be able to. Yeah, you won't be able to do Drake now. Like after a quick fight win, you need to be looking at the mini map and quickly deciding like what can we get from. And when you're thinking about fights, you're going to thinking, what would we get if we do this fight? Like if you were to win that fight right there with maybe 1 kill on Thresh, you're obviously going to take a brutal amount of damage because that rise is a fresh rise, and the rest of you guys just had to use everything to get kills on the other 2 targets. So you know that the Tryndamere is going to get that top tower no matter what, right? And you got this dragon that's kind of free spawning in 15 seconds. You really should be like prioritizing getting the map vision around there and just getting the free stuff. Prioritize getting free objectives rather than forcing for objectives that have a reasonable risk value. I know it's only an Ocean Drake, but an Ocean Drake can help with regen, and it's also a step towards Elder. Like if in worst case, like you're building up, this is all building blocks up to like the ultimatum fight, right? And if the ultimatum fight is because you guys gave them an extra Drake to make the Elder Drake stronger, then you know it's all based on this one fight here, for example. So it should always be like weighing up risk worth here. The risk worth here was like it is pointless. Really, it was going in here. Okay, if you do kill this Thresh and you 3 of you manage to barely survive, you guys are just taken down to 10%. You won't be able to. You could barely push in this mid because the Ryze could wave clear anyway, and you won't be able to do Drake because you guys would be too fragile. Ryze could stop that as well by himself. Your thought process was to keep them busy so they wouldn't go to top or bot. I mean, bot is nothing anyway. It's not much of a wave there anyway. It's not going to do anything there. And Tryndamere, if they do go to top to Tryndamere, then it's definitely a free Drake anyway. And honestly, it's a free tower anyway. Tryndamere killed his Pantheon 1v1 topside, and it's like free for him anyway. The only thing that they could stop you doing is doing a Drake, which I don't think that they would. And if under circumstances away from their own tower and away from their own minions, I think you would have a better chance at doing it. Plus, you guys could probably kill the Drake pretty quickly with the Jinx auto attacks onto the Drake as well. But there's just nothing to be won here. I'm always constantly talking about this when I'm doing solo queue to you as well. It's like constantly saying, why are we fighting here? Like there's like nothing to be gained here at all. You always want to be fighting for a gain, right? Is the potential to kill Thresh worth more than picking up a Drake? No. So yeah, focus objectives that are free. Yeah. By far. Like I get aggravated when, for example, junglers don't kill the Cloud Drakes, because it's not the fact that it's the Cloud Drake. It's that you're ahead enough to get a Cloud Drake for 2 reasons: to get an Infernal or a Mountain Drake to spawn, or to buff up an Elder Drake if it gets to that point in the game. Because let's get real. I mean, like Elder Drake is is very good if you get to that stage. And if it ends up being like a 35-minute game and you've got like 4 drakes, you basically automatically win the game, right? You can even let the enemy team get Baron, you take Elder and you plummet them down to 4 stacks of Drake, and it's like GG. There's nothing you can do. So free stuff over maybe getting something. Do you know what I mean? Always the free stuff. Free stuff's good. Nothing wrong with free stuff. Alright, so now you've lost the chance of getting Ocean Drake here. You guys are too far behind without Trindamit, so it depends. I think Trindamit is too far behind at this point. And in terms of the map, he's too far away from the objective right now. You won't have enough control over this Drake to do it right now. Once they get a game because you're behind, you should be always trying to flank in anyway and just capitalize on as many mistakes as possible. That still should be going through your mind right now. Because Drake's up, it is kind of the priority right now. Your team should be pushing in one way, so you've got vision here. Ideally, like you want one ward here to see rotations if they're going up or down. It's fairly seems fairly obvious that the enemy are around Drake. You don't know where their team is, and your team isn't probably set up for itself. The Tryndamere isn't there yet, and neither is the Hecarim. Another downside as well, if you're with the not having the electrocute build as well, you don't have that free oracles as well, so you have even less map vision as well. There's not a whole lot you can do. I do want to see wards in this mid lane though. I cannot stress that point enough. Like, mid lane wards are extremely important. It's the best ward you can do in the entire game. Like, a ward there is too far back. Like here would be perfect. Because then it would tell you straight away, are they rushing Baron? Are they rushing Drake? Like, where is their squad going? If 2 of them are going top and 2 of them are going to Dragon, maybe you can catch them at one of those objectives and like catch them off there. Seeing where they rotate after this push is very important. Are they going to be all 4 of them coming, or 4 or 5 of them in this case, going to be coming down your mid lane, or are they going to go to like an objective here? There's 3 things that they could do here, and that one word would tell you a lot. So that right now it's clear that the whole team is pushing in. As a Pyke that is behind, there is literally nothing you can do in this situation, especially if your Hecarim not here and your Tryndamere not here. The only thing I would do here is I would put one in your position here. I'd put one ward here because that ward might help if something messes up on the enemy team side. Gives you nice vision there. Plus, as I said before, there should be a controlled here or here for this very reason here now, because you've got no vision. Like, I mean, you got that one ward. That one ward there's decent, but like one ward here to help. And this side here is important to have a ward. And this side's important to have a ward for this exact situation. Alright, let's see what happens. Let's see how they dive. They're going to dive you, for sure. Okay, so they're popping Herald. I literally don't see how you win this fight, in honesty. You got to give up the tier 2. Don't encourage your team to stay. Just get out and spam pings back. You do not win this fight. Okay, because now that has happened, you have to E and then get out. You can't stay here still. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of stressful to watch. I want to see you have more awareness that that's going to go south and that you use your pings. Please don't be scared to use caution pings. I'm sure at the back of their minds a lot of those players there as well would have like felt the urge that this was going to be a bad idea as well, especially with the Tryndamere not helping. I think here you actually lose the game completely. Like, I'd be surprised here if they don't get the Nexus, because this is actually a straight up GG at this point. They can actually end here. They can end. Okay, that rise actually... yeah, like this is very hard for you to do anything now. Yeah, you're dead. Just gonna keep fast forwarding now until you respawn. Okay, you respawned, but they're all, the enemy team are all alive. You can't do anything here. The only thing you can kind of do now is get like a ward here, a ward here, a ward there, and a line to Baron. Maybe get a Baron still. You're clutching at straws now. Like Heck comes down a decent ward there. You're gonna need control wards here. Is get ready for control ward spam over this wall, because they're gonna clear this out and probably put their own control ward here as well. And the only way you're gonna see this Baron is with a control ward. The only way you win this game now is by stealing a Baron. Okay, alright, let's see your movement here. I think you could do a lot better here with the movement. Going the path that you know is clear is good. As soon as you see that thresh though, you need to nope out of there. Good, but don't follow up yet. Don't follow up yet. Because two things, you know that Baron hasn't been started yet. Sure, that ward is being cleared out, but there's no way they can one-shot Baron, right? So you don't need to overextend at that point right now. Yeah, you didn't need, you could have noped out of there, and then I probably would have like tried, you would have had time to come around here and then try and enter here. I would have definitely 100% I would have tried myself to steal this Baron. Like, it's literally the only way you're going to win this game. I just think you had time to reposition here for sure to try and steal it. I mean, the odds of you stealing Baron are like 1%, but it's possible. I did it yesterday, I think, as Pyke. Was it yesterday or the day before? And now it's game. GG. It's just kind of, yeah. So as we've established, so let's do a very quick overview. It's a shame a couple of Q hooks missed, but happens. I want to see you using electrocute. Electrocute would be way better here. I think honestly you missed out on 2 kills just because you didn't have electrocute, which could have been game changing. Could have given Jinx the extra kill. Could. As you need to identify what kind of lane you're up against as well. It's okay to know that you're in a losing lane and to not make plays and just capitalize from mistakes. Probably, I would say at least 40% of my games are based on me not doing anything in lane as Pyke. I know that sounds really stupid, but if you don't use anything, you have everything ready to capitalize on a mistake. The best example I can use is Blitzcrank to be kind of clear in a situation. So if you keep throwing out random hooks as Blitzcrank, there's literally nothing he can do, and Hook is on such a long cooldown, like 16 seconds or something, level 1, that you're going to get poked down and punished and squeezed out if you're against any competent bot lane, right? It's the same with a lot of supports. Some have that punishment factor a lot more than others. In Pyke's situation, his hook cooldown early is really bad. His first few levels are really bad. The only thing he's good at is sustaining poke with his passive and capitalizing on mistakes. Like if you kept the lane near your tower, for example, and Thresh went YOLO diving, you want to be looking at hooking and CCing the Thresh on the tower or whatever, for example. Just trying to think. Yeah. You should have roamed as well. Like, that laning phase wasn't going good for you at all. The Jinx, I think if I was playing with that Jinx, I think I would have been quite frustrated inside that she was taking so much punishment. And you need to ask your question, if I keep staying in this lane, is it going to change anything of what this Jinx is doing? Is she still going to get caught by pokes? Is she still going to get a high risk of dying? If you're answering yes to that question, you need to be looking at avenues to mid a lot more. There was definitely that time when they were freezing the wave. If the enemy bot lane is freezing, literally you have to apply pressure elsewhere on the map. You have to. It's utmost importance that you do, because if you do not, you're they can, in theory, you can infinite freeze bot lane, right? You can infinitely freeze the bot lane so that there's always more minions there's always more of your minions than the enemy's minions. So it's like there's literally nothing you can do. So you have to force them to push in the wave in some way or form, right? So you have to go mid. You have to work with your jungler. You have to look for some cheeky control wards. As soon as you move out of bot lane and see that they're actually starting to wave clear back, it's two quick decisions you need to make. Am I able to gank mid or the jungler in the next 5 seconds? If the answer is no, you need to go back bot lane, because that wave is going to be pushing back to your tower, and you've done your job forcing them to push into the wave again, into the wave again.